Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's Daily Brief. We've got the salmon catcher in the house. Ooh, look, we got Zach. He's also got a big fish in his hands, I see there. Anyway, welcome back to the program. We've got Thomas in the house today. I think we should have a really good conversation, so I'm feeling pretty jazzed about that. Got a nice full lounge. Lots of people very active in the members lounge today, throwing around lots of really good stuff. Everybody, I see the level oneers are rocking and rolling. So before we get into it, I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping here. So a couple of things I wanted to mention. I think it's important that we just start off right off the top. Everybody watching this video, and now we have quite a few site members. You know, probably got about maybe. Yeah, we got a dog in here who's watching too, so make sure that he's got accounting on his side. I think it's important, everybody. We should just mention right off the top. TRI is not. Greg, do you think maybe you could throw yourself on mute? Thanks, Chief. Benjamin, way to go, dude. TRI is not in the business of giving tax advice. We are not accountants. We are not tax experts. And of course, because this is a global community, everybody's tax policy is going to be different in your respective country. Please understand that. And my advice right off the bat, you have tax questions, go find a tax accountant and do some work. For Big Brother who's listening, and I know you are, and welcome. You might as well, if you, Big Brother's more than welcome to pay a monthly subscription to listen to our offerings. I think it's important. Everybody should understand that what we do in the market, it's so beautiful. We don't have anything to hide because we're just a completely open book. All we do is we just go into the market and participate. Nothing to hide, no shadiness, no tax dodges. Everything, we're all about PMA for the win. And I also noticed too, for people who are in respective countries and you're looking for tax advice and stuff, our community actually is a great resource for finding links and stuff in your respective zones. So feel free to ask, but don't anybody expect that TRI is going to advise you on how to handle tax policy in your respective country, right? We'll leave that up to the tax experts. So I just wanted to mention that right off the bat. Got some interesting feedback from site members with regard to feeling as though they were almost being pressured into giving tax advice. And frankly speaking, let's just make it a general policy. Everybody on this site, there's no need to be going down that road with either TRI management or even other site members. You want to talk casually, great. But long and short of it here, we're not a tax advisory service. All right, so I'm glad we got that settled. And of course, I will continually to re-mention that. That's just a very simple, straight policy of TRI. Everybody should understand that from the get-go. Second thing I wanted to mention right off the bat, we are starting to get quite a bit of interest in our next intake for the school program. Please understand, Brian's been sort of burning the candle at both ends for a good 3 or 4 years now. So I personally am going to try and slow things down a little bit from my perspective. The team is actively pursuing the idea of creating sort of like a collective instructor pool. So that the school can just basically continually operate. So this is a general message to all of our alumni. Anybody who's completed the 3 levels of the program with me, I have 100% confidence that you can help the level oneers. So if there is interest in that vein down the road, please let us know if you are alumni. And it's actually interesting. I've noticed, especially through the most recent crypto wranglings, that some of our alumni are seeing the value in working with TRI and are coming back and going, gee whiz, I sure missed the nice PMA and easy sort of going life here at TRI. So general message to all of our alumni too, if you'd like to participate in that pool as well, with the ultimate goal of making a pool of instructors that we can sort of collectively pull on to help teach new people just simply how to follow a trading plan and what our setups look like, all the basic level 1 material. So I wanted to mention that I've had, inquiries. When's the next course going to start? Come on, right? Let's get going. Let's get going. And I'm like, oh God. So, by all means, let's work collectively to help all of these new people that really want to get going here, and let's just keep rocking it. I will say, a gentleman who's actually actively helping me in the level 1 program right now, helping answer questions, and he's going to be a guest on the daily briefs when Thomas is absent. Grim, man, I would have no problem whatsoever, a guy like Grim walking people through the level 1 program. I think he's just such an added asset to the site. And of course, hugs and kisses out to you, big guy. Totally appreciate people like Grim in my life. I thought also it was interesting to mention, we are starting, we have some people that are like on the ground here in Canada. And I would argue that Canada and countries like Australia, New Zealand to a certain degree, South Africa, Russia, sort of the commodity proxy countries of the world, they are extremely vulnerable right now because we're at the end of this 17.5-year commodity cycle. The last cycle ended with the Fed cranking short-term interest rates and basically driving the whole world into recession back late 70s, early 1980s. Really, I don't see any differences. And politically, we have all the characters in place that would absolutely love to see that scenario play out. People like Mike, who's sort of like kind of our quarterback of our RSP kind of group, he's been noticing the writing on the wall is getting really thick. So all us Canadians, hunker down. And to add insult to injury, you can almost see this is going to happen. It's almost like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why? Because the Canadian government now, like in provinces like Ontario, the Canadian government has mandated that things like the minimum wage must go up to like $15 an hour. It's like $15 an hour minimum wage? Like, wow. And what ends up happening? Well, you end up getting 55,000 job loss in like one report. Right? The whole fucking economy craters. Now I was seeing reports this morning that the Liberal government, and under this Justin Trudeau guy, oh my God, where do you even start with this guy? Holy shit. And it's so funny because my old man used to be in politics, and my old man used to literally fight with his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. And my old man around the house, his name was Elliott Toilet Water. You weren't allowed to call him Trudeau. His name was Toilet Water. And that is like, the Conservative Party of Canada, chuckle, 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 right? The days of Diefenbaker, if there's any Canadians around who remember him. Anyway, the point of the matter here is that this Trudeau Jr. guy, it turns out all his bullshit about, cutting taxes for the middle class and being family friendly and all that, total bullshit. That after they account for the changes to the CPP tax, the Canada Pension Plan tax and stuff, I think one of our site members, Tim, posted it first thing this morning, and I saw that, and it's just so typical because it's like so cliche. How are you going to solve a problem with a whole bunch of baby boomers retiring and you can't pay their pensions? Well, I know, just go and fucking load up on CPP, Canada Pension Plan taxes, for all the current workers. It's so cliche. So the government says, well, income taxes, we're lowering income taxes, but quietly underneath, they're like cranking the shit out of this CPP tax. You just can't write better fiction than reality. So the irony of it all is that, and like here in British Columbia, they have like foreign property purchaser tax now, so that if you are not a Canadian, you're going to get hit. And they've got like a empty house tax, that if your house is deemed empty, they're going to hit you with another tax. You can see that government policy in itself is going to engineer this catastrophe. It's incredible. It's like it's a train wreck in slow motion. And I thought it was really interesting. Mike is right on the beat of this. And if you would like, we should probably, Mike, in our bi-weekly RSP group, we should almost like have like an update. Where are we in the train wreck? What do you think? Are you up for that, Mike? Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. You know, where is the train wreck so far? What policies has government gone and done to derail us? Okay, so those are just a couple. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. Sorry. Jeremy Meeks, level 2 student. I think he's actually a CPA. And this is what really should happen is we have a lot of professionals in this space, and they've come to learn how to trade. And now that they're like, because this guy's like a CFO of a company and stuff like that. Now they know how to behave in the crypto marketplace. People are coming to them with projects. So Jeremy's like super financial dude, and of course, understood the course, understood building trading plans. I mean, and one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet in your life, seriously. And now he actually sent me, thanks, Zach. So Zach's just reiterating. He sent me a message saying that he's having people coming to him with crypto projects, but he's a finance guy. He doesn't know code. And so he actually asked me here, and I said, yep, I can always ask. He asked me if we could just put the feelers out. If you're in Asia, you know how to code, you're looking for projects to work on, Jeremy is hip deep in capital that wants to be thrown at crypto. They've got a lot of ideas, but they need programmers and they need devs. So, even if you're not in Asia and you like working Asian hours, I don't know, reach out to Jeremy. That's basically, Jeremy, there you go. You asked me to help you. So hopefully, you're going to get a flood of messages from people saying, hey, I'll help. So hopefully, Jeremy, that helps you. And, in class and stuff, Jeremy, I'll be more than happy to reiterate that. So, all right. So I needed to mention that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about taxes. We talked a little bit about upcoming school, TA call out. Any alumni who want to join the TA pool, please let me know. We talked a little bit about the pending catastrophe in Canada. Now it's time for some salmon. Let's get ready to salmon. Growl? Where do we want to start, sir?
No growl this morning.
Oh, wait a minute. We're supposed to start with this. Oh, I know where we're supposed to start. Sorry, I screwed this up, didn't I?
Yeah, let's get everyone excited.
Yeah, ready? Here we go.
Full screen it.
Oh, that's it? Oh, 35 seconds. Oh, that was fun. All right, sir. So we don't have a bear today. We got a monkey. What's on your mind, Mr. Monkey Man?
Yeah, I wanted to get everyone excited. We got a nice little bounce coming in across the markets. Things aren't doom and gloom today. So just enjoy things as they are now and take a deep breath. Things are recovering for now and today. We don't know what the picture will be like next week. So we'll dive right into the Dow here. I've got three important levels that we have to watch for closing, and I'll quickly run through. The bottom level is 25,225. A close below that level strongly implies that we'll be retesting the lows from last week. A close above 25,300 implies we're going to continue into next week, continue climbing higher. And if we can close over 25,975 today, then we're going to retest the January highs relatively soon. So those are three levels to pay attention to for today's close. My model spits out this information usually Thursday night, Thursday after the market close, sometimes on open Friday. This time it spit it out on Thursday night. Brian has his S&P chart, which I think right now, Brian, I think we're at 27274. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we did this report the other day, and we had postulated that I think, this was such a massive number, 282,000 contracts. I mean, we can't even count that high. That's so much fucking money. I think they absolutely had to get the market above that level. The question was, could they slam dunk it? And if they could get the market above 275 and then ultimately above 278 by the close of today, that would just be a massive cha-ching for them. So I think if anything, we're probably, we're definitely going to make sure this one expires worthless.
How much money that is? You want to know how much it is?
I don't know. Like, we'd have to pull up a chart of this and try and figure out what the average right price is. But if we just ballpark it and say, I don't know, like $3, just ballpark it. So $3 times 100 is 300 times 282,000.
It's roughly $104 million right there.
It's ridiculous, eh? I mean, just insane numbers. So, okay, so let's go look at the book and let's see what we got. I thought it was interesting. We talked about this yesterday. Remember, our VIX needed to fill in the gap here. So you can see they're trying to fill that gap in as we speak here. And then if we actually go look at the levels, we see there is that 273. I think that's a lock. The price right now, we're sitting here 274.70. 69. So all they got to do is bump it up another 30 cents over the next 4 hours. You think they could do that? To make sure that this thing expires worthless. So the only question...
What time is expiration today? Is that 2
It'll
or
be
3
on the
o'clock?
close. It'll be on the close.
On the close. Okay.
So, in fact, actually, these options technically expire tomorrow. So, but most of the business, like we said, the big ramp up is usually done on the Thursday. So ironically enough, this doesn't surprise me that the market is actually very quiet here today. But, what are the odds of them bumping up another 30 cents here into the close? I think they're probably pretty good. The question I have really is going to be, what do they want to do with this? And this actually corresponds interestingly with your level. So if they can somehow launch the market up into this area and make sure those expire worthless, then Wall Street is laughing. They have absolutely no concerns whatsoever, and the game goes on. And I could totally see your scenario of that's basically up here, right? So roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they're going to be able to get it up here by the end of today. That's just my feeling. But what I do think when I look at my S&P chart is I think what has to happen here is this will expire in the money, but you see this gap here. I think what happens is the market rallies up to the gap, and we could make the argument this is a self-fulfilling prophecy in that, like we said, if we figure the average right price is $2 or $3 for these options, then filling the gap at 281.51, that will actually enable them just to walk away at scratch on this trade. And we talk about gaps being filled as sort of major resistance. It actually makes sense why that gap, and then maybe also this gap up here. These guys that are going to be exercised off of this option, they're going to be spoon feeding stock up here, and that's probably what's going to stop this bull at these gap levels. So and of course we still got another 4 hours to go. You don't know what the fuck they're going to do. Good old Wall Street, we could get a rip-roaring rally here out of the end of the day. Somebody happens to say something positive, right? And vroom, off she goes, and I don't know. But just looking at this on balance, my hunch is that they're probably just going to want to, have it just sort of settle out right in here, and this one just expire worthless. But we'll see what happens. If anything, I thought this was just a really good tell where we can just simply use the heaviest open interest, especially this bad boy, and you kind of had to know that there was no way in hell they were going to let this 280,000 contracts actually expire or something. So that's sort of what I'm seeing stock market wise. I thought it was interesting. We spent some time recently talking about the US dollar and how any dips against these lows probably was a trap. And, given the options expiry conversations, and the incredibly negative sentiment around the US dollar right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is some sort of trap and we actually have a counter trend rally from here. And when we look at the gold, right, we see that, Thomas was sort of cautioning us to be careful up here. I could easily see that have to come back and fill in this notch here as the US dollar actually has a bit of a counter trend rally here. So.
Yeah, and I like to hunt SLV puts in instances like this. I don't have an active trade, and I haven't started hunting them yet, but it's going to be on my plate for the rest of the day.
Oh, even now. Oh, puts here? Really?
We're going to roll over. I mean, silver is hard to get a good trade location on sometimes. And we tried to fill that gap up there, and it just doesn't look like we're going higher. I mean, there's the POC.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens by the end of the day. I'm not taking the trade just yet, but just keep an eye on it. I'll probably post a trade in the chat if anyone's interested. I don't know how many people are doing options in here. But just know that's coming down the pipeline. Maybe we'll cover it on Monday.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, where should we go next, Mr. Bear?
Let's go to our favorite.
Bitcoin?
You got it.
Bitcoin tastes great. Is that what you want to look at?
Yeah, let's do it. So last
what's
night,
an option? Oh shit! yeah, Rocker. Maybe we ought to do a little video introduction to options. What are options? that could be like a half an hour video into itself. Sorry, I just I read in the chat there, so that caught my attention. Okay, yeah. So where do you want to start? What should we look at?
Let's look at higher time frames. Let's pull up your inverse head and shoulders chart and see how we're doing there. And you've got a nice bot working, I believe.
Yeah, it had its move stop to a trailing level hit. And actually, this is a really interesting commentary. I talked to you guys about this yesterday. There's a lot of guys who don't even like this move stop to trailing level. And I'd just be like, fuck it. I'm either going to get my 3-to-1 or I'm going to get stopped at scratch. I suppose one could argue if you're using moving averages, we talked about that yesterday, you could see some technical failure here. If you're using the 3 high-low method, really through this, it was 1 low, 2 lows, your stop has to be way down here. So they busted the first low, but you can see they're going to put in this structural bottom here. So still 1 low, 2 low, 3 low, your stop's still all the way down there. So again, we talked about this yesterday. How you manage this move to stop to trailing rule, it's entirely individual. I don't really have any outright signs of failure, but no doubt about it, if we do M out here and fail through here, then I think probably the bull, move here is over for the time being. We do have a confirmed bearish divergence here in MACD, so that definitely is working. No real failure on volume here yet. I don't see anything really to get too excited about there. It looks like Willie was stupid. So really buys up here. And we talked about that. Got no business being a buyer up there. That's sort of playing itself out. If anything, what you'd really like to see is a nice W. You got a bit of a W there, a bit of a W. In fact, actually, you could even argue that might even be for really short-term traders. This double bottom here, W there, that's a bit of a Davo. So I can understand the short-term momentum trade here. And, on balance, I still feel comfortable that the market wants to work up into this sort of 11,000 area. But, only time will tell. We've got the weekend coming up here, guys. So just be cognizant. There could be some games where way, way, way far away from value. We could easily come back down in value, clean all of this area and the profile up here. That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Totally. I sent you a chart in a private message on the chat that's got a 1 hour and a 4 hour chart.
That's this bad boy?
Yeah, there's 2 trend lines there. The green trend line is off of a daily chart. And Brian, if you could blow that up.
This here?
Yeah, just hover your mouse over it, and there you go. This is the hourly chart. Right here, or sorry, this is a 4 hour chart. So the 4 hour chart is definitely overbought. And it looks like Brian's screen's having trouble keeping up with my resolution. This is mine's bigger than your situation here.
That's what
yeah, there you go.
No, so this is
let's
your. I guess this is your. I mean, what does this say up top here? That's
it's a 4-hour chart.
4 hour on the right, and this is hourly on the left. So where do you want me?
Exactly.
Right or left?
So let's start off on let's start off on the 4-hour chart.
All right.
That green line is actually a daily trend line, and keep your eyes on that because it actually coincides with 38.2.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of confluence there once we look at the 1-hour chart. But I just want to point out that we're kind of in the mix of putting in a short-term pivot into the weekend. The 4-hour is overbought, according to Willie. The MACD momentum has slowed to a crawl here. If you go down to the indicators, my indicator is starting to get a little bit toppy on the 4-hour, but I'd like to see the red line get a little higher before we dip. The 1-hour, however, is a different story. Overnight, we dipped down and there was a nice little trade. You can kind of see the volume profile is pretty anemic down there at 38.2. And that purple line was an hourly trend line that's been breached. So do we need to go up and tag that before we roll over? I mean, it looks like someone's defending just below that. If you see the candle wick from the last hourly, there you go. Brian's mouse is over it. That looks to me like somebody's defending that area. So I keep a lookout for that over the rest of the trading day here. Keep eye for a weekend short. Whether or not we go past 38.2 or even get to 38.2 depends on market structure here. So as Grim's saying, and as Brian likes to say all the time, wherever we leave off at the close of the session today, we'll most likely pick up on Monday once markets start trading again. So if you're into that kind of thing and you're into these short-term shorts, like I've been cautioning all week, wait for the trade to come in. Don't front run it. Don't try to guess that the market structure is going to confirm before it does, because we're in a bull market here. We're trending higher and you're going to get burned, because all the other times we had some MACD divergences coming in and they just blew you up. They blew you up if you didn't have your stop
totally
set.
See this scenario here, eh?
Sure, yeah.
See that? So I could very easily, especially after sort of the New York close, late in the day before the new day starts, I could see a nice little fuck you against these, because keep in mind, all the New York boys, they'll be gone, right? London boys, they're gone now. The Europeans have been gone for about an hour. So just watch for that little fuck you right at the end of the day. And then if you get any sort of reversal bar right up in here, see this nice little inside bar reversal. If that's on like any div, that's probably your trade. But at the same time, too, you can see this didn't really set up very well, did it? And really, ultimately, this pullback really actually set up the next buy level and the market heading higher.
Yeah, so today's President's Day here in the U.S., or Monday's President's Day. So Monday's going to be an interesting day. Yeah, it's a holiday in the U.S. Yeah. And today is Grim Day, according to Grim. So that's why the market looks so funny. We'll blame Grim for that. But Monday is President's Day.
I didn't know that.
That's what Grim said. He just declared his own holiday.
Okay. All right. Oh, is it your birthday? If that's the case, happy birthday, dude.
Oh, happy birthday,
way to go, man. Happy birthday. Actually, my stepmother, she just had her birthday. So you two, actually, I can see a lot of similarities in your personalities. That's cool. Happy birthday, dude.
Yeah.
So indeed, it is Grim Day today. But anyway, if we say that, we're going to get copyrighted and YouTube's going to shit on us. So we can't, I can only do 3 lines there. Done. Okay,
so we've got a special weekend trading that's extended into Monday. I don't know what if Wall Street takes off on Monday. I don't think they officially have a day off.
Is that that's actually be interesting? Is it a bank holiday? Is it a stock market holiday?
So it looks like President's Day, Wall Street is not trading.
Ah, okay. So that means
it's also a bank holiday.
So we could see some real funny business through the end of this weekend. That sucks. When's the Chinese New Year? That damn thing's got to be ending. Actually, I was in the bank yesterday, and somebody's like, "Happy Chinese New Year," and they went, "No, no, no, not till that day." So when's that coming up here? It's pretty soon, isn't it? Today's the new moon. Is it? Does it start on the new moon? Where's China Tim? China Tim knows all this stuff.
So everyone returns on Tuesday. Yes, Graham's right. So Tuesday morning, everyone returns. When's Chinese New Year? Let's find that out.
Okay, so we could easily see some
Today.
pretty wild action here through the weekend, guys. Just be prepared for that, okay?
Yeah. All right. So should we move on to some news in Bitcoin?
Sure.
Let's
Yeah.
cover a couple topics.
Where do you want?
I want to start off with Coinbase. Anyone that's been doing business on Coinbase, make sure you check your bank statements. There's been some information coming out that those who have been doing some buying through Coinbase, they've been getting double and even triple charged.
Ooh, wow.
So there's a specific story that was circulating on Reddit, and this is anecdote. Basically, this guy, he was paying his landlord through his bank account directly, and Coinbase overdrew his account with all the fees, and that kind of snowballed into an even worse situation where his overdraft fees got bigger and bigger and double spends. Exactly, Benjamin. So Coinbase issued a statement today that they're going to cover all those fees and everything that's gone wrong. So just want to make sure that everyone's on top of that. And if you're not the kind of person that's checking your bank account all the time, now's the time to do that. So with that being said, let's give a bit of good news.
Fascinating. That's fascinating. I didn't even know that.
Those of you might remember Tim Draper from 2013 or 14, I believe there was a government auction where he ended up being the high bidder, and I think it was probably the $200 area. But anyway, he forecasted.
He paid a hell of a lot more than that.
Was it? I forgot how much he paid.
He felt sick to his stomach that he overpaid for them.
Yeah, but he was predicting that Bitcoin would be 10 grand back then in a couple years, and Mr. Draper's come out with a new prediction where he sees Bitcoin at 100,000. Now he didn't give a time frame for that, but it's just fun conjecture to mention at this point.
Yeah, you also had something on here. What was that? You want us to? Ellen DeGeneres now is getting into the business of crypto.
Those of you that aren't from the United States or don't know who Ellen DeGeneres is, she has a very large audience where she hosts a daily talk show. And Brian, if you scroll down, she's got a 2-minute video. This will be kind of comic relief if we want to watch this and see her talk about.
Are we gonna
let's do it.
Let's see.
You make it louder.
I think everybody is learning about is Bitcoin. Who's heard of Bitcoin? Who can explain what Bitcoin is? Liar. Nobody knows how it works. Nobody. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin. Nobody understands it. It's like a plot twist in a confusing movie. When you're watching a movie and your friends are acting like they know what's going on, and you're like, "Yeah, I do too," and then you're like, "What the hell is everybody? I have no idea." And all I know is Bitcoin is either worth $20,000 or nothing. That's what I know. It's like a digital antiques roadshow. You're just standing in line and you have no idea until you get there. But they didn't call me economics Ellen in high school for nothing. They called me that because I failed economics. So I did a little research, and I am going to the best of my ability, explain how Bitcoin works. Okay, first, the article I read said Bitcoin is decentralized digital currency. Now, to be honest, I don't know what that means. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain it, and I think we're all going to get this. Like, pretend like Bitcoin is a goat, okay? Now, it's adorable, right? So everyone agrees it's adorable, and you want to pick it up and you want to pet it, right? But you can't because it's not there. It doesn't exist except for on that internet right there. Just like Bitcoin is digital currency. You're probably thinking, Ellen, if I can't physically touch it, where do I keep my Bitcoin? In a digital purse? Which is a funny idea, but it's kind of true. You keep it in a digital wallet. Okay, and the digital wallet can either be apps on your phone or tiny hard drives like this, and which is a really good idea because who wouldn't feel safe with their life savings on a piece of plastic that could go into the washing machine? And it sounds like a Jimmy Kimmel prank, but it's not. A digital wallet holds all of your Bitcoin, unlike your real wallet, which holds receipts and punch cards for free. We also found out Bitcoin operates sort of like the stock market.
She keeps going. She's almost done.
Okay? And then for some reason, Bitcoin becomes worth $20,000. You just doubled your money. Personally, I'd rather own a baby goat. That's my opinion. But that's just me. Basically, if you invest in Bitcoin, you'll either be a millionaire or you'll be totally broke.
So there you go.
So she has an audience of 3 million or so viewers a day on the low end. So that's going to get your basic person who doesn't really know anything about Bitcoin at least a little bit more informed, if you can call it that, from this. So it just brings more interest into the space, and it brings more awareness, and that can't hurt it, right? So it's good that people like this are talking about it in the mainstream media, and it's nice that it's light and comical and jovial.
Yeah, we'll know that this thing's over when she's sitting there talking about, oh, did you hear the latest Bitcoin scandal? These guys robbed you of whatever amount of money, right? And she's cracking jokes about how much of a fraud it is. That's when we'll know that this story's over. So the fact that she's just getting ramped up in this, I think is a good thing. And if anything, you know what, this just speaks to this whole idea that whoever can figure out that, what did we used to call it? We used to call it like the geez, there's a name for it, like the app that a grandmother can use. Isn't there like a name for that? And so as soon as somebody can build that app and go on her show and show her audience, hey, look, it's actually really easy, right? Just boop, 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 done, right? And then, oh, look, I can buy that, right? Whatever. Then we'll know that we're sort of like there, right? And crypto is part of the economy. The interesting thing, though, ironically enough for us, is that's actually the end of the story, not the beginning of the story. Once we're at that stage where she's actually talking with all her people on the site, you know, about the wonderfulness of crypto and using cryptocurrencies and stuff, the potential capital appreciation of these ideas, getting in on the ground floor, getting in on the basement, that'll actually be over in my eyes. So if anything, this is perfect, that she's still kind of clueless. This space still has lots of growing to do, and that means there's lots of opportunity for us to make lots and lots of money.
Yeah. So should we move to some good news coming out of Switzerland about ICOs, contrary to what we're seeing in the United States?
Do you have a link in here on that, or does I just see Switzerland ICO laws supportive? So actually, where's Jeremy? Hey, Super J, you got, I'm sure you probably got links and stuff about this.
I just put it in there for you.
Oh, did you? Where?
Yeah.
On the database?
Just
On the spreadsheet?
Here.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
Man, you're quick. That's what she said.
That's not what she said.
Oh, you're slow and thorough. That's what she said.
So you
All right, so I can't look at anything here. I'm not quite sure what it is I'm supposed to be looking at.
Oh, that's a shame.
Can you maybe take a screenshot of the article? You know, these kind of things I got to subscribe, right, or else I tell you to screw off.
Yeah, I guess if you follow a Twitter link, you don't have to go behind that paywall. Let me see. This is going to take too long.
That's a handy thing with Twitter. And you notice there's a lot of like Wall Street Journal and stuff like that right now that are kind of like, please don't follow the Twitter link and stuff because they can't control it.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. I've got this somewhere.
That's okay. No big deal. So once upon a time, Switzerland's going to get a lot more friendly with crypto. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So they actually decided to classify ICOs in with three different classifications. The first is a payment ICO, which means that the coins are transferable and can function as a means of payment. Mm-hmm. And they basically said, Swiss government, who's regulating ICOs, or attempting to, said that they would have to comply with anti-money laundering regulations, but therefore would not be treated like financial securities, which here in the United States, the SEC is jumping up and down, trying to get everyone to regulate ICOs like securities. Because if you watch the testimony, the guy basically explained what a security is and why these ICOs are securities. And Switzerland saying, you know what, we don't really care. We're just going to call, as long as you subscribe to the anti-money laundering regulations, we don't care. So there's a second category that they're calling utility ICOs, which they're also not going to qualify as securities, and their only purpose is to, quote unquote, confer digital access rights to an application or service. And the third and final category, they're calling asset ICOs, which will be treated like equities or bonds that will pay dividends, interest, or give rights to earning streams. And those will be subject to strict security law requirements. So this is great, right? Now they're actually subcategorizing ICOs and giving these businesses the opportunity to funnel money and conduct business in a way that they understand how the law is going to treat their business. Whereas everywhere else, they're either being banned in South Korea and China, or in the United States, you have to worry about the SEC knocking on your back door. Whereas Switzerland's like, hey, here's the laws, follow them, and you can do business, and we don't care. And that's great. And that's exactly what this space needs. And it's fantastic that Switzerland was able to do this so quickly. I mean, maybe not so quickly, but at least give the clarification necessary. So that's what we need out of the United States and out of all these other big countries, because frankly, it's just another stream of capital for them if they know and can regulate it properly and be able to do it in a fair way that promotes the business and promotes the innovation. I don't think many businesses will have a problem with it. The only reason why the United States is going after these corporations in the United States is because they just want a cut of the taxes. People were skirting the securities laws by saying, well, we're just giving out tokens. It's not technically a security. And the SEC is like, well, if you're buying these things and you expect them to be worth more in the future, I'm sorry, in the United States, that's called a security. And according to the SEC guy, it seems like this is low-hanging fruit, and they can easily go after these companies because it's just easy for them. And that's really all it comes down to.
I would say, though, here's the problem, though, Thomas, is, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, think of our boxer guy, right, Holyfield. There are a lot of people that are not really going, they don't have the best intentions. And remember I've told you guys about the fact that they, on bulletin board stock prospectuses, it says right on the damn document, the directors do not have the legal requirement to tell you the truth. I mean, that's shocking that it's right on the document, right in your face. So the problem in this world, Thomas, and for everybody here, is you got to understand that the path of least resistance for most capitalists, for most people in our society, is the scam. It's so easy. And if you just simply promise people, hey, you can make 100, 200% return, right? If you turn on CNBC on the weekends, they constantly, what do they call it, American Greed or something like that. It's just one story after another of basic, fraud and Ponzi. So sadly, that's the norm of our society. The scam is the norm. And think of our boxer buddy, right, who just basically got screwed. So I can understand, if anything, it's in the public's best interest that the SEC be dicks about these ICOs and just put the fucking kibosh on this now, because some of them, they're just the most blatant scams out there possible. And that's what's going to derail us. We just want to come to the market and trade, and good ideas, fundamental analysis, blah, 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 blah. Good use case scenario, cost of production, all that kind of stuff, trade our charts, right? But what's going to kill us is those Evander Holyfield stories. And it's not really fair to all of you guys. You're all doing your hard work. Why do these sons of bitches that just scam the market for hundreds of millions of dollars in a heartbeat and then head off to Florida, park all their money in mansions, then declare bankruptcy? Your house is not part of the bankruptcy ruling in the state of Florida. I mean, this is the way the game is played. And this is the great part about Brian. You know, buy your unleaded middle of February, sell it the middle of May. You made money out of about 9 out of the past 10 years, right? I've had this experience. I know what these guys are like. There's a whole system of fucking the public over. So if anything, I actually think it's a good thing. And, you know, your comment here about what Switzerland's doing, this also, in my opinion, this is what we really need. And we heard from the panel, the senators yesterday, what we really need is standardization. We just need the whole globe to sort of buy into this sort of standardization of how we categorize these assets and who has to report and what different types they are. It's going to make our jobs a hell of a lot easier, I think. Anyway.
I agree. Should we do some Schalt coins?
Sure. Hope I didn't go off on too much of a tangent there.
I think it's great. I think people need to know about this stuff. And it's great that Switzerland's doing what they're doing. And they just want to be crypto friendly. They want to encourage innovation, and they know there's a lot of money behind it. So if you open the doors and you put the regulation in place that can help foster innovation, they're ahead of the game already.
Yeah. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if one of our audience members here actually has regular conversations with the people who are actually putting these laws into place.
Yeah,
but we'll leave that conversation for another day. All right. So we want to head off and look at altcoins. Any altcoins in particular that have your attention right now? I mean, I see tons and tons of them putting in turns here.
I think Mona's up like 15% today.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about the Japanese coins here. And, you know, what's it? Did you guys read that? There was a really interesting article that was put out by the did I put the link on the spreadsheet? I know I put it in the lounge. Really interesting read, and I know I even tweeted it out, so I think I can find the tweet here. The operator of BitMEX put out a really cool article. Nice read. I think everybody here should maybe it was a reply or something. Yeah, here it is. This guy here. I know this is a really, really interesting read. So do yourself a favor. This was actually written by the guy who runs BitMEX. Really interesting commentary on the market right here. And I thought it was really interesting. He did actually a nice little analysis of South Korea and stuff. And what I'm hearing is, you know, very typical market behavior, lots of FUD, price moving up way too fast, way too far, way too fast. So they had to clean things up. And, you know, like the talk is that you know, Korea is going to ban crypto. And then he actually goes through and he goes, well, no. What they want is they just want people to act responsibly. They don't want foreigners coming in and trading the shit out of their markets and wash trading. They want you to put a name on an account. Imagine that. Holy, that's a crazy idea. So I wouldn't be surprised if these Asian centric altcoins actually catch a bid here, because the tone I'm hearing out of Asia is a little bit more positive. And I certainly do like, you know, location. You know, we're against these lows. If this thing really does fall apart, you can see where the bottom is. But if we can accept back above value, we got a pretty good shot at taking a run up top. You know, if you want to maybe try and work bids, try and see if there's a little gap right down in there. Might be some gaps off lower. There's a gap right there. So, you know, if you want to let the market come down, fill in gaps, and then check out your momentum indicators, and, you know, there are trades. If anything, you know, I went and picked up a coin just recently, and I actually it was a nice little double bottom, and I think it was PDC or something like that, Project Aquarium. And I actually gave the whole level 1 class the assignment to see if they could just work an open order at the double bottom breakout level and join me. So, you know, the asset went zooming up here, and now it's pulled right back to the original double bottom level. And so I think this is an excellent example where, you know, like guys like Joshua, they're going to be hunting gaps. So let the double bottom come in. And then they'll just draw their fibs and, you know, maybe Kavarkanators, right? You can see where this double bottom is. Are there any gaps down in here? Maybe we even work a bid on Ian's, what do we call it, Leper Kavark, bottom of value. Anyway, shake it. This is a really good exercise and what I think a lot of coins are going to look like over the next little while. So you can see the same thing on Mona. You know, the Japan stocks, it looks like today, are catching a bid. And, you know, same sort of thing. Probably not a good idea to be chasing price, kind of like that one. Don't chase it up here, right? Just, you know, if you do want to buy, just, you know, wherever this thing ultimately does top out, get your fibs going. And you should probably be seeing sort of the similar kind of thing like we just did there just a moment ago. So, you know, there is a Kavarkanator, you know, even that looking at this probably tells me that it needs to go up into here. So I wouldn't be surprised if the buy level comes in off a test of these lows and maybe a little probe down into here, bottom of value, same sort of thing. So I don't think it's a good idea to chase any of these things up top, but, you know, if you want to work your bid off the double bottom breakout level, that's acceptable. And if you want to be like a shark and a Kavark and a Leper Kavark, right, then you get your bids working off of a test of these lows. And if it comes back, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. Next plus, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. One thing I didn't like to see was the evil one is perking up here, but I suppose we'll leave that for today. Probably got a couple things I wanted to mention here, which I thought were so cool. I put a tweet out this morning about Litecoin. And Joshua, our resident crypto gap hunter, you can actually see that in essence, they, you know, as we were coming into sort of today's session, if we look at the higher time frame, this thing ran into the 50% rule, and it's a really good reason why we use the 50% rule as a targeting tool. Can you see that? So if you had your profit objective at the 50% level, maybe you took this fractal, maybe you bought this W, whatever, you can see, boom, slammed right into that level and just jackknifed right off of it. And I also noticed too, which I thought was really interesting, was that that was right off of this high-low trend line. Boom, boom, boom. You can see the battle that's going on here. So I kind of think that, you know, I do like using Litecoin as a sort of proxy for the space. And, you know, level oneers, inter-market analysis relationships. In previous years, we used to use Litecoin, Bitcoin relationship as sort of the tell or the health for the altcoin market. This is just relative to US dollars, you know, tether thing, you know. And actually, it's interesting. We were getting emails from Trex. They've actually invited us to be part of the pool of accounts that are going to have access to the US dollar funding, which I thought was quite interesting. Obviously, the people at Trex consider us a little bit more valuable than I thought, because I always bad talk Trex, right? So I get this email yesterday going, "Oh, hello, Mr. Beamish. We really appreciate your business, and we would like to invite you to our, our beta test pool of the U.S. dollar." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I better stop talking badly about Trex, eh?" Anyway, that's a whole other side conversation. But anyway, the point of the matter here is, I think basically we have sort of like and I sort of put this box on here. I think that this market is totally boxed here. And it's so cool how this was right in the middle of a trend channel. So the level twoers, they just did this, where you can literally see where you draw this channel and you draw boom, boom off of these lows projected off of the previous high. And you go, gee whiz, the market could actually rally up to the top of this channel. And sure enough, that's where we are, right? Sick how that happens. So high-low trend line. We've got this channel. 50% rule, 38.2 is now the fail level. And then what I thought was so cool, right? You can see this is off the daily chart. So you can see the battle lines, wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can see those battle lines. And I just drew these horizontal lines and just said, look, if we crap out through the low here, inside bar failure, we're heading back down. If we break out through the top, we're probably going to probe up against the top of the channel and probably hit mountain man. It's really cool to see that. So then just out of experiment, I was like, okay, so let's go see what does a lower time frame look like. And when I saw this, I almost fell off my seat, because hopefully everybody should see that basically the powers at B actually engineered this range. You can see off of the original top, and you can see they tried to create a top of a range here, right, with this gap lower, but then they zoomed it back up, went up and ate that wick for a little bit, and then put in a gap here. So clearly somebody's trying to establish some sort of top of the range up here. And then conversely, right, I absolutely love hard candle bottoms. Can everybody see how this is a nice example of railroad tracks? Huge, nasty, I'm a loser, I'm a bear, look at me. And then literally the next bottom, the next candle, open up. No more selling. Let's get our asses out of there. Room, up you go. So this is like what you want to look for signs of a serious bottom, guys. Take a screenshot of that. Seriously. I mean, that's super valuable. So I thought it was interesting. Bottom. Remember purple, that's our trend line, that high-low trend line. Look how the market just rallied right off of that and slammed right into that level again. Then backed off, came back down and asked, okay, well, do we really want to have this as the floor? And then look at this fight. And this was a fight, right? This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. That's a hell of a battle, eh? And the bulls eventually won the battle, but through the process of the battle, look, this sons of bitches left a gap here. Isn't that incredible? So, yeah, it's almost like the bear said, okay, fine, we'll let you win this fight, but we're coming back. Isn't that incredible? So, you know, and remember, we drew these horizontal levels, the sort of the bull-bear battle lines. And gee whiz, look at where the market rallied back to and where it stalled. What a shock. Isn't that cool? I don't know. Does anybody find that cool? You know, a guy like Joshua, right? I think we changed the whole way that he looks at life based on these gaps. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So nice little side story. And very simply put, take the market up through this level, and then we know, all right, the bull's still firmly in control. Right now, I think, and really I think this also is the case with Bitcoin. You know, we look at our inverted head and shoulders, the bot setup, how we're sort of establishing structure here. I think probably if Litecoin fails through those lows, we're probably going to see Bitcoin probably fail this top here and start to head back down. So act accordingly. I thought it was really cool that that Litecoin has actually telegraphed this very well. And really, you know, this is one of these kind of interesting scenarios where the market sometimes actually makes it fairly clear. I mean, it's fairly simple. We head up through the top, bull's still in charge. We crap out, bull runs over. Really that simple in my eyes. So we'll see what happens. Okay, that is the top of the hour. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about here today while we're here, Thomas?
Yeah, just remind everyone that we've got a weekend coming up, and there's still lots of coins to hunt over the weekend that are still in nice reload zones. You don't have any excuses to not start buying at these levels if you haven't already been doing it. A lot of things look great, so get a move on.
All right, but first let's build plans. If you're feeling like your plan isn't solid and you're still uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with paper trading. The great part about the market is it ain't going anywhere. So, you know, slow and steady wins a race. I appreciate Thomas wants to sort of kick your butt a little bit. We spent probably like a couple months there just cleaning up, cool your jets, cool your jets, cool your jets. Well, I'm seeing Davos, I'm seeing reload zones, I'm seeing bots. You know, I'm feeling like we're getting back into a trader's market again. So that's good.
And there's one more thing that I want to remind everyone about, and that's that once these names start taking off, you're going to start to think, you're going to see lots of news stories that, the stuff's going to the moon and it's not going to come back down, and everyone in the chat is going to be posting doubles, and you're going to feel like you're missing the boat. I've been there. I know how that feels, and it's so hard to keep your finger off the trigger, off the buy button. But you
Don't
have to
chase.
do it. Do not chase. That's the one way that you can end up just blowing up your account, frustrating yourself to no end. If you look at a daily or a weekly chart, these things come back down. Just don't look at them while they're going up, and just set your bids and walk away. Don't go after the markets. They're always going to give you a chance to come in. And if you let yourself get sucked into the FOMO, you're going to see your money get sucked out of your account. So
Yeah.
just be smart and patient. And if you need someone in here to help you out, we're here to help everyone. This market's going to get crazy eventually. I don't know if it's going to be this week, or next month, but just so that that's out there, we're around for you guys.
Yeah, and over the coming days, what I'll probably be doing is just cycling through the charts, posting W's, reload zones, divergences. If we just collectively as a community, just so when you see these things come in, we just the key is to just let's refrain from like even like Litecoin up here saying, oh look, I'm thinking I want to buy Litecoin here. Oh, come on, people. Reload zones, divergences, right? Structure, post your chart. Hey, what do you think of this, guys? And if I like it, I might just go buy it myself.
Yeah, and those of you that are in level 1, you have a huge community of people to help you with. And we always advocate that level 1ers don't really trade with real money yet, because you guys don't have the setups, you don't have the technical knowledge yet to really be able to profit in markets like this. And there's nothing wrong with posting charts. And if you really are dying to get into this and use real money, just make sure that you're running ideas by people. Make sure that you're asking yourself, as Brian likes to say, am I acting in my best interest, or am I just chasing this because I'm FOMOing and missing out on making money? And if that's really what you're doing, you're doing it wrong. You're going to screw yourself.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Okay, shall we leave it at that then, sir?
Yes, let's all make money together. Let's do great. Let's keep having a fun time. And best of luck to everyone. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. So we'll probably have a broiler chicken show on Sunday. Man, we'll see how Monday goes. I know, Thomas, you have the day off on the 20th. So what's the 20th here? Is that Monday? That's Tuesday.
No, so I'll be around on Monday.
All right.
Tuesday,
So even though it's going to be a holiday, we'll still try and do a daily brief on Monday. And Grim, you said that maybe you could do a nice little presentation in Thomas's absence on Tuesday the 20th. And actually, it was really cool. Grim's like, yeah, I totally want to talk about setting himself, so how I set myself up for success on a daily basis, which I thought would be totally awesome. That'd be a great little piece for everybody. So yeah, can't wait, man. I mean, I got to tell you, this place is fucking awesome. If I had a place like this 30 years ago, man, I'd be so stinking rich right now. So just suck it in, everybody. This place is just the shit. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. We're so privileged to have all the good people, good karma here. Just soak it in, guys, and let's just go own this world. All right, everybody. Have a great day. See you in the lounge. See you in the market. Talk to you later. Bye for now.